Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video I'm going to be covering the speed and turn meter boosters in the game, putting them in a tier list, going through them really quickly so that you have everything you need to know in one resource about all of the people who fill that role in Raid Shadow Legends. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so let me first pull up the infographic that I made for this discussion where I laid everything out in one little tier list here. So there is the list right off the bat there. And one quick thing I want to let you know is I am going to be doing a gem giveaway on Monday live on my stream, and you can win very easily. I'm going to be giving out 500 gems to 5 different people. We're going to do 2,500 gems in total. All you have to do is be a subscriber to my YouTube channel and leave a comment below on stream. I will pick a random comment. We'll pull up a random comment generator and we'll pick 5 winners. And then I will reply to your comment and let you know if you win. So all you gotta do is subscribe and leave a comment. Now let's dive into this list. So we'll just pull these champions up and really quickly we'll run down why they're in that certain tier and let you know kind of the basics of each champion. So as we start with Siffy, obviously, probably the best champion in the game, in my opinion, and definitely fills the role of a speed and turn meter booster. Now, why I want to get this video out there and why this is so important is because in almost any team that you ever build, you're gonna want a speed / turn meter, manipulator, booster, something like that. It's a very, very crucial role to any successful arena team, dungeon team, faction wars team. You're gonna want to understand all these champions and how good they are and how you can slot them into your different teams. So Siffy, not a whole lot to go over. She's probably the best legendary in the game, and she does fill the role of turn meter filler and booster for all allies while also increasing defense. She works super well with Rotos, who is also a beast in the arena, so really no shock as to why she is S tier. Then obviously we've got to put Arbiter in the S tier. She's a very famous champion because she is the missions reward at the end when you kind of beat the game and finish all of those missions and you finally do all that damage on the Nightmare Clan boss. I think it's like 100 million or whatever. It's been a while since I did it, but amazing champion for boosting, can slot into basically any dungeon team, arena team, do super well. One of the best speed auras in the game for the arena. And then turn meter boosting, reviving, decreasing the duration of enemy buffs. So many teams that Arbiter can succeed in. And then Arbiter's sister high elf, we've got Lysandra. Now, Lysandra is tied for the biggest all battle speed aura in the game, and Energize is arguably the best, well, maybe not even arguably, it's just the best turn meter manipulation ability in the game. It's got 30% ally turn meter filling, which is guaranteed to happen, and then if she has good accuracy, 30% AoE enemy turn meter reduction and 30% increased speed on all allies for 2 turns. This is an absolutely insane turn meter ability. Gonna be good in any area of the game, except maybe the clan boss, because you can't manipulate the turn meter of the clan boss, obviously. But any dungeon, any arena team, she can slot in, and Lysandra will do amazing work for you. And Kymar is obviously S tier. He's got a ridiculous ally speed in arena by 30% aura. He resets cooldowns and fills turn meter of all allies except for himself. And he's got AoE buff strips. So in terms of slotting into a turn meter filling role, Kymar does have that ability on his A3, and he's a ridiculous champion besides that. And now we get to the first one that some of you may be disagreeing with me on, and I actually put Apothecary in S tier. I've done hundreds of account takeovers at this point, and Apothecary is one of the biggest deals for somebody to have on their account. I always want to make sure they have them maxed out. I want to get them built, and he just helps so much for progressing people's accounts. You can use him in the arena and every dungeon team, clan boss team. I know I used my Apothecary for like 6 or 7 months in every single team. Clan boss, arena, dungeons, absolutely everywhere. So I had to put him in S tier. A lot of you are probably going to argue that maybe he should be in A tier because he's not like Siffy and Arbiter and stuff in the arena. But in terms of impact on a new player's account, I had to put Apothecary up there, and let me know if you agree or disagree on that. Then as we move into the A tier, we've got Sathalia. Now, she's on this list because of the aggress ability, which is 75% that we can book up to 100 chance of removing all buffs from all enemies. AoE buff strip is extremely good, especially in the arena. Then decreases turn meters. You're going to need good accuracy for that, along with the removing the buffs. And fill turn meters of all allies by 10%, and then decrease the turn meters of all enemies by 20%, and fill the turn meters of all allies by 20% if 5 or more buffs were removed. So she's going to be really good in kind of a defense absorption setup where we go second. She can go first in like an immunity set or something, strip buffs, boost turn meters, fill everybody up, get everything ready to rock, and manipulate the battlefield in that direction. So Sathalia, definitely a pretty solid champion who belongs in the A tier just because of her arena utility alone, especially with 3v3 coming out now. And then Molly Tankard. Molly, very good. She's got a cool turn meter ability because it's kind of a passive ability that just happens when your team gets hit. AoE attacks are very common in the game, especially in the arena, and she will fill the turn meters of all allies by 15% when she is hit. Now, you can do some fun things with that. It only takes 1 book to reduce that cooldown to 1 turn. So you can do a lot of fun things in terms of building teams around like anti-blender comps where you get hit, she boosts turn meters. You can do a lot of cool things with Molly, and she probably would have almost been S tier, but now that Rotos is out and it's so common to block revive in the arena with Foley, Rotos, champions like that, her revive is not going to be as impactful as it used to be in the arena, but she's still a very solid champion. And Gorgarab. I remember when I was kind of a mid-game player, Gorgarab was absolutely everywhere. In Silver, Gold Arena, in any team that's performing well, you would see a Gorgarab because he has the speed aura, he also has the revive and the heal, and the turn meter boost, and the attack boost, and the buff strip on the A1. So Gorgarab is really a Swiss Army knife that can do it all, and he's so good in so many different teams, kind of like an Apothecary type champion. And then we move into Seeker, who, same as Gorgarab, I used to see him in a lot of different teams. That's why I kind of put them next to each other. They're same faction. I used to see them all the time at kind of the same point of the arena. And Seeker has an amazing turn meter boost ability. It's 30% AoE, which is massive, and 50% increased attack. So in terms of nuking abilities for the arena, it's one of the best out there, especially for an epic champion. And we're starting to see Seeker really be an awesome champion. He's used in the best clan boss comp in the game, in my opinion, which is the double man-eater Seeker comp with Painkeeper. He's used super extensively in that, and he's also used in anti-blender teams because of the ability here, the passive, that heals him and places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns when hit with a critical hit, which is going to happen all the time in the arena. And you can also provoke somebody that you choose if you give him good accuracy. And then he's got the defense in arena battles by 30%. So super utility in an anti-blender speed comp where you're going second, and also in the best clan boss comp in the game, in my opinion. Now, don't get confused. This is a different champion. This isn't Gorgarab, but Gorgarab and Mausoleum Mage are kind of brothers. They look very much alike. They're reskins of each other. Mausoleum Mage came out after Gorgarab, so it's technically a reskin of Gorgarab. But Mausoleum Mage is good in his own right. You can see here that he removes all buffs. He's a good candidate for an immunity set cleanser on a team that on a defense team that's going to go second. He's really good in that role. He's got turn meter fill, he's got defense buffing, block debuffs, increased crit rate, lots of utility for Mausoleum Mage in lots of different areas of the game. And of course, Lanikis is super well known for her ally attack ability, where she brings all of the champions in the arena anyway, because it's 3 random allies, and in the arena you're only going to have 3 random allies. So she brings the whole team in the arena, but a lot of people forget she does actually fill the turn meter of all allies by 30%. So most notably used in blender comps to really swarm the enemy team and go first and just blast down the enemy team in 5 seconds. But she's also used very successfully in some clan boss comps and some fun dungeon teams as well. And then Golden Reaper is a champion that I think is a little bit undersold by the raid community. I'm not saying she's S tier, God tier, anything like that, but I think Golden Reaper is a very solid champion that not enough people use. Sorry, I can't talk today. But yeah, she's got amazing base speed of 111. This Alacrity ability is on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. That is the big version of increased speed on all allies and boost their turn meter by 20%. She's also got an A1 that's going to let us cycle through abilities as often as possible. It's going to reset a random ally skills. And then she's got an A2 that decreases attack so that we can sustain a little bit better in dungeons and all those sort of scenarios. So amazing champion in Faction Wars, can be a turn meter booster in the arena, and can perform well in lots of different dungeons while being a void affinity, so she's never going to be weak to anybody that she goes up against. And then as we move into the B tier, Skartorsis is another one who can be a good candidate to be a defense team immunity set cleanser because of this ability here that removes all debuffs from all allies. That's very strong, but he also fills turn meters of all allies, and he can do a bunch of stuff, but it's not super consistent. It's going to be based on some buffs and stuff that get placed on your team and all that. And it's also got a pretty big cooldown of 5 turns and a default of 7. A default of 7 turns is a massive cooldown. I wish this was at least 6, that we could book to 4 or 5. That would be a little bit better in my opinion, but he's definitely pretty good in the right scenario. He's got one of the best, maybe it is the best actually, ally speed in dungeons by 33%. I think it's him and Ray that are tied for that at 33%. I believe that's the top speed auras in the game for dungeons. And then the A2 is kind of it's all right. It's really good in the early to mid game, but crit rate kind of falls off a little bit in the end game. And the AoE buff strip on the A1, I love that. That's really cool. So Skartorsis, definitely a solid champ. And Shatterbones is another champion similar to Golden Reaper that probably doesn't get as much attention and acknowledgement as he deserves. This guy is a beast for people in the early to mid game. He's got AoE increased attack, which can help you crank out the damage. It's very consistent. Then he's got attack all enemies 3 times. A triple hit AoE is pretty cool, and it also decreases turn meter as long as he has accuracy to pull that off. And then this kind of Apothecary-like ability where it's a decreased speed, so it's kind of the opposite. We're going to decrease the speed of the enemies, and then we're also going to fill the turn meters of all allies by 25%. So it is, the cooldowns are kind of big on him at a default of 7 and then 5, and a default of 5 and then 4. So that's why I couldn't really put him up in the A tier, but he's definitely deserving of the B tier. And then Manaya, in terms of being a meter filler, it's kind of a meme. It's based off of her dying, but you can see here she's got a passive, fill the turn meter of all allies by 20% when this champion is killed, and then revives the champion with 75% HP if CORSAIR is on her same team. CORSAIR is very tough to get. He's a void legendary, so not a whole lot of people are going to have him. And yeah, so I mean, she's an okay champion. I didn't really know what to do with her on this list because she is technically a turn meter booster. So I put her in the B tier because she's an all-right champion. She's not amazing. She's not a complete trash can. And it's kind of funny that her turn meter boosting is based off of dying. So didn't really know what to do with her. I put her in the B tier. You could honestly probably argue maybe the C tier because it's not going to be very reliable that she's going to be filling in the role of the turn meter booster. And then Haikatoon, a daily login reward that is a very introductory good champion for new players to take advantage of in terms of filling the role of booster and speed tuner for different dungeon teams. And she's also got the ally speed in all battles by 19%, which can be really good down in bronze when you're trying to use her in the arena as a speed aura and as a booster and an increased speed. So Haikatoon, very good in different stages of dungeons and arena, and just generally a good booster and a good early to mid game boosting option. And then as we move into the C tier, a lot of people forget about Astrolith having an insane ally speed in the arena by 28%, and she does actually have pretty cool turn meter boosting on the A1, which is as long as she's going to crit, will fill the turn meter of all allies by a further 15%. On an A1, that's pretty consistent turn meter boosting. To go along with the big R right here of 28%, Astrolith, definitely not good, but maybe not as bad as everybody makes her out to be. Could probably still use a little bit of love just to bring her up into being worthy of being a legendary, but does at least have some utility with turn meter boosting and ally speed in the arena. And then Doom Screech is kind of a fun one because he fills kind of a different role with the fill turn meter of all allies by 30%, which is the big version of that, and then increase the defense by 60%, which is the big version of that. Now, we see usually people that fill turn meter, they boost attack or something, or boost speed, but he's going to be boosting defense, which is a big deal. So he's very good in Undead Faction Wars and very good early to mid game for an arena booster, especially if you're going to be using defense champs in the arena like a Tyrell or something, which is very common for people in kind of the early to mid game stages of Raid. And HyperX is a newer champion introduced to Raid a few months ago, but very, very good for Lizardman Faction Wars because he's got a revive, which is extremely good in Faction Wars and also in Dungeons, to be honest with you. And he's got, this is definitely a baby Apothecary ability. He's got the fill turn meter of all allies and increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. and an aura of speed in the arena battles. So Haruspex, probably another kind of undersold champion. And then Channeler, mostly known for this ability here, that you can book to a 4-turn cooldown of 30% increased speed on all allies for 2 turns, and also filling their turn meter by 15%. So Channeler, not amazing, but he's a decent champion for a rare. And then this guy, Anointed, is actually a pretty good option for early game players to raid because he's got an A1 that places freeze, and it's a multi-hitter, attacks 3 times, which is good in the Fire Knight, and freeze is always a good thing in terms of CC. Then he attacks one enemy 2 times with a chance of stealing a buff. This is very good for the magic keep, where you can, rip off those shields. He's Force Affinity, so counters the magic keep very well. And then he's also a turn meter booster of all allies by 25% and increases crit rate, which in the early game, you're going to be struggling to get a high crit rate. You might have your damage dealers at 40, 50% crit. He can go ahead and boost it up to make your damage a little bit more reliable. So Anointed, a very good option for early game players. And then as we get to the D and the F tiers, I will go over them pretty quickly. Marksman, he's got turn meter fill, but he's not like a ridiculously amazing champion. He's pretty good in the early stages of Clan Boss because he does have turn meter boosting, and he does place poison on an A1 while also having defense in arena battles, but he's not going to be super good in the arena or anything like that. I mean, I guess you could use him in the early game if you're on a defense team, have him be the highest speed and go first and kind of catch everybody up to him, but at that point, it's not going to be super impactful. And then Diabolist is one in the demon spawn, and you can actually farm her in the campaign, and she's really an early introduction to boosting turn meter, decreasing turn meter, and also boosting ally speed. And you can actually farm books for her and get her down to a 3-turn cooldown. So Diabolist could make sense for early game players. And then the funny one, similar to Manaya, I didn't really know what to do with Frozen Banshee on this list because she's technically a turn meter booster. You'll see here if I pull up the Undead and go to Frozen Banshee, she's technically got an A2 that fills the turn meter of all allies by 2% for each debuff on the target. It's a 3-turn cooldown, so she's not going to be very good as a turn meter booster at all, and she's really only going to do super well in the Clan Boss. I mean, you can do some other things, like I've seen people use her in dungeons to really get those poisons ticking off against dragon teams and stuff, but her main utility is going to be in the Clan Boss, and she's not really ever used in the turn meter boosting role or anything, but she did belong on the list, so I threw her on there. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I had a lot of fun going through and ranking these champions and their different roles. Remember, I will be doing the live gem giveaway for 5 people winning 500 gems. I'll be doing that this Monday live on stream. You don't have to be there on stream. All you gotta do is remember to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. While you're doing that, let me know where you agree, where you disagree. I will pick the 5 winners live on stream. We'll pick a random comment. I'll reply to your comment and let you know if you won the 500 gems. So huge shout out to Plarium for letting me do that and give away the gems to you guys. I always enjoy when I'm able to give back to you guys and throw some resources your way. So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, let me know what you think. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.